18th week Ordinary Time Friday Reflection. We are in the journey towards the promised land, my dear friends. Hazards, challenges, brokenness, fallen nature. God is taking them through all the trials, forming them and molding them. Now today in Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 32 and 40, Moses spoke to the people saying, "Ask now of the days that are past, which were before you since the day of God created man on earth, and ask from one end of heaven to the other, whether such a great thing as this has ever happened or was ever heard of. Did any people ever hear the voice of a God speaking out to the midst of the fire as you have heard and still live?" The presence of God, we call it, we call that Shekinah. That presence is powerful. You can die in that presence, yet you live. How that bridge was built, the gap was bridged because of the mercy of God. And it says further, trials and did any people ever hear still, or has any God ever attempted to go and take a nation for himself from the midst of another nation? By trials, by signs, by wonders, and by war, by mighty hand and outstretched arm, and by great deeds of terror, all of which the Lord your God did for in Egypt before your eyes. To you it was shown that you might know that the Lord is God. There is no other beside him. Out of heaven he let you hear his voice, that he might discipline you. And on earth he let you see his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers and chose their offsprings after them, and brought you out of Egypt with his own presence, by his great power, driving out before you nation greater and mightier than you, to bring you. Therefore today you lay in your heart that the Lord is God in heaven, above, on earth, and beneath. There is no other. Therefore you shall keep his statutes and commandments. And how God has intervened and how God has mingled with their lives. That commandments are the bridge. Commandments are the connection. That the thread that connected the people to the Lord. And now what is that commandment? All the commandments of the Old Testament. Everything which was there is narrowed down to one particular thing: love. At the time Jesus told his disciples, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." If, it's a choice. It's always a choice. If anyone would come after me, that's a choice. After me, always remember, it's Jesus. Not the mission, Jesus. You go after him. You will see him before you. Nothing else, no one else. Take up his cross and follow me. So everything follow. You take up the cross because of Jesus. You follow him. So you will have him as your goal all the time. All the time. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. So again, isn't it? You become self-centered, you will lose everything. If your life centered around Jesus, if your focus is Jesus, you begin to live. But when your focus is him, the world will despise you, kill you, threat you, smash you, corner you. So that's the nature. That's the way you have to follow him. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeit his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul? My dear friends, so your life has meaning when you live the meaning given by the Lord. When you fulfill the will of God. That's exactly what happened in Jesus' life. how he fulfilled it, how he went in search of it, discerned it, and completed it. My dear friends, so all what matters, that commandment of love, that you love him from all of your heart, soul and mind, your strength. So that love behind the law will give you that impetus, will give you that push to accomplish the will, without which you will lose everything. So that's exactly why he's saying, if you want to follow me, so in following him, you will despise you. I mean, you will let go, you will sacrifice things because you can have him. So that's a proper wisdom and understanding. For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay each person according to what he has done. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in the kingdom. My dear friends, so it's important that there will be a day of reward. Your pain will never go down drain. It won't be in vain. Remember that pain has power, pain has a price. In disciples, the cost of discipleship. So if you want to be a disciple, so that matters, what matters is that relationship. So you die to yourself, what I like, what I want, what I whims, but my whims and fancies, but what I desire, my ways of doing things. You simply crush it. Lord, I want to do your will. But then remember, easier said than done. You won't be able to do this. Mount Tabor and Mount Calvary. In between there's another mountain, Mount of Olives, where Jesus prayed and got the strength from above. It's important that you build that relationship. You have that bond so that you can hear him. Come follow me. Matthew heard it. Peter heard it. And Zacchaeus heard it. And that's exactly what you should hear. So in that word is double-edged sword. It will cut open. It will separate your attachments and it will help you detach. If you hear him only, my dear friends, if you hear him definitely, then you will say yes. He will beckon you. You will say yes. And that yes is very heavy and hard. But then that love you have for him will always help you to go in that journey. And also today is the feast of Saint Clare. And she gave up everything and followed. Saint Francis of Assisi, she found the order of poor ladies and monastic religious order for women in the Franciscan tradition and wrote their rule of life and first set of monastic guidelines known to have been written by a woman, Saint Clare, a beautiful lady who said yes and gave up everything in life to follow the Lord. Think about it. You have a calling, just follow him and make him your first in your life. Amen. May God bless you.